The next area of the box that we investigate is padding. As mentioned in a previous movie, padding is the buffer zone between the content and the border of our objects. We also talked about how any padding that we might add to an element is added to the size established by the width and height properties to give us our true size of our object. That true size will also include any border widths or any margin widths or heights that we may end up setting up. Padding can also be placed on all four sides of an element or just the sides we need. Additionally, padding values cannot be negative, and our zero values for padding, as well as other items, do not require us to indicate the unit of measure. So when we're going to set up our padding, we can do so in the following manner. And one thing to indicate here is that our padding is indeed optional. We don't have to set padding. If we do not set padding, we will be using whatever the default is for the browser. So here we see our padding top being used. So this is just applying 5 pixels of space above our content between that content and what would be the border. So we use padding dash top. Next we see padding dash right, and that's going to set up a 5 pixel padding between the content and the border on the right side. Then we have the padding left, which is going to establish our padding on the left side of 5 pixels. And then lastly, our padding bottom, which will again establish 5 pixels of space. Now, instead of having to write that over and over and over again for each of our 4 sides, for padding top, padding bottom, padding left, and padding right, we do have some shorthands available for us. And in fact, we have 4 different versions of our shorthands. Now, depending on how much padding you want to add and how you want to add it will determine which shorthand you will end up using. Now, one of the things about the shorthands is that sometimes none of the shorthands are going to work for your purposes. In that case, what you should probably do is go ahead and use a shorthand method and then use the singular method to set the padding. So let's go ahead and take a look at those shorthand methods. First of all, we have padding and then the value. So this would end up being like P scroll brace padding colon 5 pixels semicolon and then that closing scroll brace. Now what that's going to do is it's going to set 5 pixels of padding all the way around our object. Now that's actually the way that we should have done our previous breakdown, but I did want to show you all of the different sides for our padding and how to do that. Our second way to do our shorthand is padding and then value 1, value 2. What this will do is it will set the padding for the top and bottom with the first value and then the right and left with the second value. The third method of our shorthand uses 3 different values, and with the first value it will set the top, with the second value it will set the right and left hand sides, with the third value it will set the bottom. Our fourth shorthand will use 4 different values. It will use the first value to set up the top, the second value to set up the right hand side, the third value to set up the bottom, and the fourth value to set up the left side. Now it does have to be in these specific orders. You may find it helpful for this last 4 value padding to think about going around the box clockwise. So you'll start at the top, go to the right, go to the bottom, and go to the left. So it's just like your standard traditional analog clock moving around the face. Now that concludes our theoretical look at padding, and in the next movie we will apply our padding to our project.